For the final photo of leaders of the APEC summit, U.S. President Joe Biden was the last to arrive, but will be the first to leave the 21-nation group of Asia-Pacific countries. This was the beginning of Biden's swan song on the global stage. And ahead of next week's G20 meeting, it was his last chance to meet privately with his Chinese counterpart.
These conversations prevent miscalculations, and they ensure the competition between our two countries will not veer into conflict. Be competition, not conflict. That's our responsibility to our people, and as you indicated, to the people around the world.
China-US relations are critical not only to the interests of the Chinese and American people, but also for the destiny of all of humanity. The two countries should bear in mind the well-being of their people and the common interests of the international community.
The relationship between the world's two largest economies is complicated and fraught with difficulties, from territorial disputes in the South China Sea, Beijing's military expansion and indirect support for Russia's war against Ukraine, to charges of Chinese cyber espionage, and, of course, trade conflicts. Joe Biden and Xi Jinping do agree on one thing, and that is that the world is entering a period of uncertainty and change. Xi calls it of turbulence, and with the next U.S. president vowing to impose high tariffs on many countries, but especially on China, Xi is positioning himself as a global leader of interdependence and unity, as opposed to unilateralism and protectionism.
Good morning.
Members of APEC represent nearly 60% of the world's GDP and are uncertain about their relationship with Trump this time round.
We
know that during his first administration, he despised multilateralism. He preferred transactional negotiations with the carrot and the stick. Let's see how different Trump's second term will be.
China says it's ready to work for a smooth transition in bilateral ties. Yet, however much President Biden may want to help smooth that transition, the future is largely out of his hands. Lucia, Newman, Al Jazeera, Lima.
William Lawrence is a former US diplomat and a professor of international relations. Now, he says Trump's return to the White House will likely come with its share of diplomatic tensions.
Some things are sure. He's named a bunch of China hawks to senior positions in his administration. He's been telling the American public he wants 60% tariffs, would be devastating for a lot of industries. And he's, preparing the way for a kind of China confrontation early on, because Trump believes that the best way to extract concessions from an adversary or an ally is to play hardball at the beginning. Now, that could mean that we're up for, security confrontations with China, trade wars with China, that we could push towards, this new global currency controlled in part by China, and a realignment of the international economic order. On the other hand, Trump has people in his cabinet like Elon Musk who wants better trade relations with China. The Chinese now understand Trump and they would like to cut a deal with Trump. So there is a strong possibility as well that the Chinese will, not by negotiating with Trump, but by understanding Trump, just come up with a formula that allows most of the trade wars to not happen and allows for strong trade relations between the two countries that depend on each other more economically than any others. And so you could see a situation where it's tough at the beginning, but then softens with a deal. But it's going to be rough riding, a rough road ahead.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.